On the day that the Arkansas Learns Bill is signed into law, Secretary of Education Jacob Oliva, gracious enough to join us here in studio. And it's been a very busy day for you. I appreciate you guys coming down.
Oh, it's my privilege, my honor. Thank you for having me.
We've taken questions throughout the day from viewers out there. A lot of them you addressed with our reporters earlier in today. First, before we start, tell me how your emotions have run as we've gone through this day from the signing to now.
Well, I tell you, this is an exciting opportunity for the students and families here in the state of Arkansas. And emotion-wise, I think it's really exciting to see the hard work and perseverance that I've been involved in the past couple of months, but I know a lot of passionate folks have been engaged in this process almost for a couple of years. So to see a blueprint come into an actionable plan and codified in law is a pretty exciting moment.
All right, well, let's jump into it. In previous discussions we've had together, I've tended to ask some supply and demand questions. And in Little Rock, there are 20 plus schools that have F grades, which, if I read the now law correctly, means that those students there are eligible for these education saving accounts right away. So with all these families about to get $7,000 thereabouts to spend, what's the supply side look like in Little Rock as you've come to know this state? What's that looking like as these students and families start to explore their options here?
So I think first and foremost, it's important to remember that the spirit of this bill is really designed around improving public education as a whole and making sure these schools, especially persistently low-performing schools that have been struggling over time, have the resources they need to improve. So we have that commitment from the state level, from the district level, and we're going to invest in our public schools. But for families that are exploring options, we want to make sure that those options are viable and that choice programs are of quality as well. So as we look at those opportunities, it's important to remember that nobody's making parents participate in this program. Nobody's making schools participate in this program. But as we work through the rulemaking process and design the guardrails around accountability for the school systems and set up the Freedom Scholarship Fund program, we'll have a better sense of which schools want to choose to participate and opt in as well.
How much headspace and broadband have you given to what if there is a rush in a city the size of Little Rock? And how do you make that investment on the fly if there's a sudden departure within the public schools here?
Well, that's what's great about the way the legislature and the bill sponsors worked on scaling in this program over time, over the first couple of years. So in year one, we'll be able to have a pretty good handle on the demand for how many parents and students want to participate, because it's prioritizing students that are new to kindergarten, students that may be attending a failing school. They may be students that are whose parents are active military members, or they may be homeless students. So we know that it's a little bit narrow scope, and you look at the participation numbers in the current scholarship programs that already exist right here in Arkansas with the Succeed program and supporting students with special needs. If those trend lines kind of stay persistent, what we've seen already historically, it could be about 1% to 3% of the families. A lot of people talking about this gold rush or this genuine rush to exit out. Research has been pretty consistent around that even though we're providing opportunities, a lot of families do find comfort in their neighborhood schools, which is why we want to continue to invest in and support them the best we can.
So you're counting on past trends to lead you into these first couple of years?
Well, I think you have to look at data. When you're looking at predictable data, you have to look at historical trends and make an accurate prediction. I don't have a crystal ball, and I can't tell you what the future is going to lead, but we want to make sure that any family that wants to execute in a choice option, and the scholarship program is not the only choice. There's quality charter schools across the state, across the city. There's virtual options, there's homeschool options. There's many different pathways for options. The one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. And right now these options already exist. They're just becoming more available to more students and families.
Two quick rapid-fire questions for you. Parents, families with special needs children or learning disabilities always get concerned whether there's going to be a disruption or options. What do you do to allay fears of parents who could see a disruption in the next couple of years?
So parents who have students with disabilities have some provisions that are afforded to them through federal law. That many of it is codified through state law. So especially students with disabilities, parents with disabilities are entitled to a free and appropriate education, which is called FAPE. And part of the procedural safeguards that are outlined in the Individual with Disabilities Education Act requires parents to have a seat at the table through a multidisciplinary approach that includes the teachers, educational stakeholders, to make sure that the student and the family and the school together write an individualized education plan based on that student's need that they all agree to administer.
So the map's already there. All right. And the one big question that a lot of people were asking right away, when do teachers see their paychecks change?
So historically, when budget process is done through the legislature, they're going to go through the next couple of weeks, and there's the adequacy recommendations are going to go through the budget committee process. The Senate and the House will come up with an overall recommendation. That budget process isn't different this year as it is done any other year. The fiscal year for next school year is 2023, 2024. If school districts are able to set their salary schedule to be in place come day one, the funds will be available for them to implement.
So day one could be July 1st, depending on the district.
Yeah, many teachers may not start July 1. There are some staff and districts that do, but if they start in August and their salary schedule's been determined and their local board has approved it, this is what's great about returning back to local control, they could be stood up and ready to go.
Secretary Oliva, appreciate you coming by, and we will be right back after this.